In the quiet, grief-stricken village of Emmerdale, where tears were being shed for the tragic loss of Nate Robinson, a storm of a different kind was brewing within the opulent walls of Home Farm. While the community mourned, a venomous battle of wits, greed, and survival was reaching its explosive climax. And at the heart of it all stood the indomitable Kim Tate, ready to prove once again why she is the undisputed queen of her empire. What unfolded was not just an episode of television. It was a masterclass in betrayal, a chilling epilogue to a saga of manipulation, and a story that left us all breathless. Let's rewind for a moment to truly grasp the suffocating weight on Joe Tate's shoulders. This wasn't just about money. This was about life and death. The monstrous Dr. Crowley, a man with a surgeon's precision and a serpent's soul, had his hooks in deep. After kidnapping Joe, he dangled the most terrifying threat imaginable: the reversal of his life-saving kidney transplant. With his very mortality held hostage, Joe was forced into a horrifying partnership, becoming a puppet for the man who threatened to undo his future. His mission? To help Crowley con the one person no one should ever dare to cross: Kim Tate. The plan was as cunning as it was audacious: a phony solar panel company. Joe's role was to be the inside man, to push, prod, and persuade Kim to invest her fortune into Crowley's scheme. The emotional toll was written all over him. Every moment was a performance, every word a lie. He was a man drowning in plain sight, and the ever-perceptive Kim Tate was beginning to notice the ripples. In tonight's heart-pounding hour-long spectacular, the tension was a palpable, living thing. You could feel Joe's desperation radiating from the screen. As Kim found him, his face a mask of torment, he was secretly clutching a one-way ticket to Buenos Aires, a desperate escape route from an impossible situation. Kim, in a moment of what seemed like genuine concern, offered him a non-judgmental ear. She saw his pain, his agitation. But make no mistake, Kim Tate is a strategist. While she offered comfort, she also delivered a clear message. She had no intention of investing. The walls were closing in on Joe. And in his pocket, a tiny vial held the power to change everything. The tranquilizer given to him by Crowley was his final, terrible instruction: immobilize Kim and make her vulnerable. As Kim spoke to him, her voice a mix of matriarchal concern and businesslike resolve, Joe's hand trembled around the syringe. Could he do it? Could he betray the woman who, for all their complicated history, was family? The conflict was a raging war within him, a choice between his own life and Kim's safety. Just as the moral weight threatened to crush him completely, the devil himself arrived. Crowley, accompanied by his hulking thug Sean, swept into Home Farm with an air of chilling confidence. They were convinced the deed was done, that Kim was already drugged and helpless. Pressured and cornered, Joe's courage faltered in one respect. He confessed he couldn't bring himself to use violence to force Kim's bank details from her. A flicker of disgust, or perhaps amusement, crossed Crowley's face. "Fine," he essentially declared. "I'll do the dirty work myself." As Crowley ascended the iconic Home Farm staircase, the episode delivered its first stunning twist. He wasn't just a random villain. He was Eddie, Kim's charming, mysterious new man. The man who had been whispering sweet nothings was the same one plotting to bleed her dry. The betrayal was sickening. "That's not even his real name!" Joe yelled, a desperate warning from downstairs as the trap snapped shut. The charming facade of Eddie melted away, revealing the cold, predatory heart of Dr. Crowley. He laid out a set of surgical scalpels, the tools of his trade now repurposed for terror. The glint of polished steel under the lamplight was a promise of pain. He was ready to carve what he wanted out of her, literally, if necessary. But as he loomed over her, Kim Tate's voice didn't tremble with fear. It rang with a defiant, ironclad resolve. "I'd rather die than give anything to you," she spat,
each word laced with contempt. For a terrifying second, it seemed her defiance would be her undoing. Crowley grabbed a blade, his eyes alight with a cruel fire. He held it against her skin, the cold metal a stark contrast to her warmth. And then she seemed to break. Her body went limp, her voice a fragile whisper as she seemingly caved to his demands. But this is Kim Tate we're talking about. Her weakness was a weapon. Her surrender was a strategy. She waited, drawing him in, letting him believe he had won just a moment too long, and she moved with the speed of a striking cobra. The tranquilizer she was supposed to be a victim of was in her hand, and in one fluid motion, she plunged the needle into his leg. Crowley staggered back, a look of pure, unadulterated shock on his face. "What are you doing?" he stammered, the confidence draining from him as the drug began its work. Kim rose from the bed, no longer the victim, but the victor. A cold, triumphant smile played on her lips as she delivered one of the most iconic lines in recent memory. "Just giving you a taste of your medicine." In his drug-addled confusion, Crowley turned to his last resort, ordering his thug, "Sean, get her." But the final, brilliant piece of the puzzle clicked into place. Sean didn't move. He stood, impassive, and announced he was now working for Joe again. Why? The reason was as simple and brutal as the world they live in. "They pay better," he said with a shrug. As Crowley collapsed onto the bed, his body betraying him, Kim stood over him, a titan reclaiming her throne. She reminded him, and everyone watching, exactly who she is. "I haven't worked all my life for some weak little man to come and steal every penny I own," she declared, her voice a glacial wave of power. In a last desperate gambit, Crowley croaked that he had evidence of Joe's past crimes hidden away, enough to send him to prison. But the threat was hollow. Joe called his bluff, and Kim wasn't about to be intimidated. She turned to Sean, her voice dropping to a lethal calm, and instructed him to get the details of the doctor's deposit box from him by whatever means necessary. And then came the final, bone-chilling warning to the paralyzed man on the bed, a promise that would haunt his waking moments should he be lucky enough to have them. "If you even try," she whispered, "they'll never find your body." The battle was won. The villain was vanquished, but the war for trust was just beginning. Later, a humbled Joe tried to apologize, to explain his actions. "I didn't have a choice," he pleaded. "I was trying to protect you." But the words fell flat. The look on Kim's face was not of anger, but of deep, profound disappointment. The trust between them had been shattered into a million pieces. "I'm sorry, Joe, but I'm struggling to believe a single word you say anymore." In the final, poignant scenes, the weight of the betrayal settled between them. The adrenaline was gone, leaving only the wreckage. "This is all on me, and I'm so sorry," Joe said, his voice thick with regret. But Kim's expression remained unreadable, her heart guarded. "Now we're back at square one," she stated, not as a threat, but as a devastating fact. Joe promised he would do anything, work tirelessly to earn back her trust. But as the episode faded to black, we were left with a powerful, unsettling question. Can a trust so spectacularly broken ever truly be mended? Or has Joe Tate lost Kim Tate for good? One thing is certain, the Queen of Home Farm is back on her throne, more ruthless and powerful than ever. And heaven help anyone who forgets it.